Okay, people, it says, I note that Miss Cooper has been diagnosed with autism as a child. In her case, this is characterised by persistent defects deficits inability to initiate and sustain receptorial social interaction, social communication by a range of restricted, repetitive and inflexible patterns of behaviour, including making repeated phone calls to emergency services and making threats, interests and activities which are clearly atypical, including interest in dinosaurs and prehistoric animals, and not commensurate to the individual's age and social cultural context. The onset of the disorder in her case, individual's age and in this case occurred during her early childhood, with the symptomology becoming manifest later into life. The social demands of children and relationships exceeded her limited capacities, her deficits of social communication, interaction, and lack of imagination caused such impairment to her that they have disrupted her personal, family, social, educational, and occupational life. These deficits in social interactions and communications are pervasive. She has pervasive, inappropriate responses to verbal and non-verbal social communication of others. Her language skills are well developed, i.e. her vocabulary is well developed, but she fails to understand non-verbal cues. Her eye contact is poor. She does not understand facial expressions and body language. Her use of language is not appropriate in social contexts, and she struggles to initiate receptorial conversation. Her social awareness is poor. Her ability to imagine response to feelings and emotional states and attitudes of others is very minimal. She is unable to sustain typical peer relationships. She lacks adaptability to new experiences and circumstances. She has inflexible adherence to routines. She has repetitive, stereotyped motor movements, especially in her fingers, and atypical gait. She has hypersensitivity to sounds. She does not have a concurrent disorder of intellectual development, i.e. her cognitive functioning level is relatively normal. She does not have any impairment of functional sugar. She does not have any impairment of functional language. She would satisfy the diagnostic criteria for autistic spectrum disorder with no impairment of functional language as per the International Classification of Diversity 11. It says, due to her autistic spectrum disorder, which is a mental disorder and a mental disorder in the meaning of the Mental Health Act, she lacks the ability to cope with social relationships and is overwhelmed with social demands, and in this context appears to seek attention and care by making repeated phone calls to the emergency services, which are threatening and abusive, ensuring a response from emergency services, and in some instances eliciting care, and in other instances eliciting containment and being detained in custody or similar. Paradoxically, that has a reinforcing effect in her case, i.e. during the current index offences she was living in a house of multiple occupancy, which I was, and was struggling to care for herself, and her relationship with her partner Simon had broken down, and by making the phone calls she made abusing the emergency services staff resulted in her being detained in custody, which she sees as a refuge. The normal loss of liberty and detention in situations such as the segregation unit away from others, which would normally be a severe punishment to those who seek social interaction and social contact, is not a deterrent in her case. She sees segregation as a refuge in a prison setting. Unfortunately, a custodial sentence and a custodial detention in her case only has a reinforcing effect of her behaviour. She is currently fit to plead and fit to stand trial and all that kind of blah 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 blah. Yeah, fit to do everything. It's a trial, and that's just it really. That's pretty much everything now. He just goes on about the court now, and just saying I've caused immense difficulties to the emergency services over the last 2 decades, blah 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 blah, and all the problems I've had. But that's his diagnosis basically, and saying I need proper support in a community setting, blah blah blah. Not to be unsupported and that sort of stuff really. There isn't unlikely to be any easy solution to the problem. It's just sending me to prison just reinforces it. Well, I enjoy going to prison in a way, in a very funny way. Everyone that's normal would say I'm completely mad, but if I'm struggling in life, I enjoy going to prison because it's a refuge. I have structure, routine, I always get a definite meal every day. So yeah, he's correct. The normal prison loss of liberty isn't really a deterrent in my case, and that's all he says really, and then he goes on about that. But yeah, this is the report that got me off in court, and it got me off in court because he's a brilliant psychiatrist. I find it extremely funny. I got away with it. I laugh to it, laugh it to this very day. I jump up and down, enjoy and laugh about it. But yeah, that's about it. Okay, people, please leave all your open, honest thoughts and opinions. Thank you. Bye.